Stress, stressor, stressings, stressed. How many of y'all have experienced this? I know I have. And with a brain injury, your stress level that was once here, all of a sudden it's all the way up here now and even beyond. I'm going to discuss this, y'all. Welcome to my channel. I'm Astra, and this is Astra's brain injury. Now, for all y'all who is new, I would let you know my brain injury began back in November of 2014. And that is when my life changed. Everything that I knew, everything about me that I loved, that I was working on, everything that made Astra changed. Now, I talk about stress, and a little bit of stress is good. You're working out hard, and the stress of that working out. The next day you're going to feel it, but it feels good because you know what? I'm accomplishing. I'm getting somewhere. I know what I'm doing. And that's all right. I feel like I'm about to lose my natural mind kind of stress. That's a little bit too much now. And the thing is, with my brain injury, the smallest of things for me, y'all, seemed like it was a mountain. I'm going to say a little anthill seemed to be like a huge mountain. Like it was huge, just huge for me. And it was, I give the words of overwhelming, it was overtaxing, it was overloading, it was just too much. And it seemed like for me, everything in my life was causing me stress because it's like my brains could not handle what I used to be able to handle before. So what was something that I was just like, whatever. It's like it wanted to take me from 0 to 100 like that. And I'm not one that loves this. I don't need like bacchanal going on in my life. No, that is not me. I don't thrive off of something like that. I like to have me some peace. Drama's all right, but don't need that kind. But for me, everything was a stress. I cannot get my clothes on. I can't take my clothes off. I cannot bathe myself. I cannot, even put food to my mouth properly. I'm eating again when my family is like, Astra, why are you eating again? I'm like, what are you talking about, Willis? I'm just eating out. They're like, no, Astra, you already just ate. What? It's stressful to think that the signals that you would have from your stomach, from wherever else in your body, whether it's the food, you need to go to the washroom or anything like this, the signals has a disconnect. They're firing, but they're just passing each other by. Or if they are firing and they're coming, they're having a bacchanal and they don't want to work together. It is stressful having to deal with that moment by moment by moment of the day. And then it is stressful to think that, am I going to get better? So things before that was not stressful for you, things before that you could have just handled, and it's stressful to have to be dealing with all of these different things. So your life was, you may have had a little bit of stress in your life, and you're just like, that's just a little. I can go about my business. But now it's like, what? I've got too much. And my family, I'm sure, has heard me say on a continuous basis, y'all, that this is too much. They've heard me say these things because when you know how to do something and you're able to do your own business and now you can't, what? That's a whole heap load of stress. It's a whole heap load of stress. I'm curious to know if any of y'all out there has felt this kind of a way, that you had stress, you've got stressors, now you're stressing and everything is stressful. Let me know. Like that stress in all of these things. I'm curious to know if y'all have felt this way, because I say that my body was not working with my mind. Everything was just helter skelter kind of a thing. It was not saying, oh, you know what, Astra wants to shimmy over this way. No, I might want to be going this way, but my body's going this way. Matter of fact, my body could be coming forward. What? So I've had all of these different things. And then, y'all, trust me when I tell you, come to do my head, it was a lot. It really was a lot. And did I like the stress? No. Do I appreciate the stress? When I think about it, when I look back on it, and I'm thinking, yes, in a way, and no, in a way, because that stress helped me to, I need to fight. I need to get through this. So I was just like, ding, ding, ding. We've got Astra in this corner, and ding, ding, ding. We've got brain injury over in this corner. And the brain injury is including everything else, plus the stress. And so, I had to be, okay, now, how are we going to do this dance as we're going back and forth, trying to see how am I going to be able to get a handle all of this. And, I say these things in a jest, but at the time, it really was not a jest for me. Like sometimes you feel like, well, not you, I felt like, sweet Jesus, this is too much. I can't go no more. Sorry, don't want to do no more. Sorry, I ain't gonna do no more. And this is how you feel, like, not you, this is how I felt. Like I felt like this because I've got all this amount of stress because I want to get to where I was yesterday. I don't want to be in the position that I'm in now. I want to get me back to being Astra. And you put all this stress on yourself, because I did. I put all this added stress on myself on top of all the stress that I already have, because you have the stress of your family, the stress of your spouse, the stress of your friends, the stress of, your practitioners, going to your practitioners, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I don't have no time for me. And well, you don't have no time for you, because as I told y'all, I was going to practitioners 5 days a week, 3 to 5 appointments a day. That was a lot, because in my mindset, I was thinking, okay, if I could just push myself, and maybe that was just being a little bit unrealistic and causing more stress upon me, being stressed already. And I'm thinking, if I, push, Astra, you got to push so that you can get back to being you. Instead of me thinking, okay, you know what? Not that I'm going to go with the flow, but I'm going to, I'm going to slow and steady wins the race. Just take your time, girl. You need to take a break, take your break. But I was trying to push myself because I really wanted to get back to being who I once was. And I put undue amount of stress upon myself, unrealistic amount of stress upon myself. That's the better phrase to say. I put too much stress on myself, trying to force myself into getting back to who I was now. Am I where I was before? No. And that's a hard no. Am I partially there? Yes. Am I going to be accepting of that? Yes. Because even though I am not, fully where I once was, I'm still somewhere. I'm not out floating about and I'm like, who am I? I don't know. No, I'm not. I'm not doing none of that kind of a thing. I am accepting, okay, Astra, this is where you're at. This is where you'll maybe remain. Maybe, I don't know how long down the line it might change even a little bit and be a little bit better. Don't put unnecessary amount of stress on yourself. And I say this because I'm saying from experience that I did that. I had stress because, as I said, I had stress of everything that was going on in my life. And then on top of that, I have my brain injury. And then on top of that, I've got memory issues. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, Willis? That's my favorite thing to say. What are you talking about, Willis? Because I really do not remember a lot of things. And so you've got that stress of that. So I've got all this amount of stressors. I should say maybe it's more like stressors in my life that I have. And, I'm sure you all have heard me say that I talk about, because my youngest, when I was in this accident, my youngest was only just a year and months. So he's ever known me this way, because he was a year and months. He's only ever grown up now knowing that this is how mommy is, and it is, it's a lot. My oldest, knew me before, good recollection. Ooh, my mommy was not like this. But I mean, when they can put their hand on you and be like, it's okay, mommy, you feel good. You're like, okay, I just want to cry because, they have that compassion and they can understand. So that helps with my stress too as well. And, I've told you all about my mother because she's a retired nurse and she's worked doing all these kind of different things. She'd be like, Ashley, do you really need to do that? Why are you putting too much stress on yourself like that for? So I'm thankful. I shouldn't say I'm thankful that I've had quality people in my life to help me and even to point to say, Astra, you really don't need to try and, put all of this on yourself. Why give yourself so much stress for? Why do it? And, when one has that, it's a huge help. It's a huge help to have, positiveness in your life where they can help you to be able to come to the realization, hey, you don't need to put that amount of stress on yourself. Take your time. You need to take a breath. You take a breath. You need to sit down. Sit down. You need to get up. Get up. But take your time. And this is why I tell y'all, just appreciate, because if I could not appreciate where I'm at even now, I couldn't do this. I could not do this YouTube channel. So again, I say, did I appreciate the stress? Yes and no. No, because when I look back on now, even from my writing, like with my journaling, so I tell you all journal. When I look back on my journaling and I see how I said I was so stressed out, I feel so stressed because of all of these things. You know, feeling and knowing is two different things. Feeling and the actual situation is two different things. So, you know, when you're in it, you can't see anything other than what you're in. When you get out of it and you can look back and analyze and reanalyze and be like, what? You know, I can't believe, but then you realize, you know what? Okay, I can understand why I was doing this. And it's because I was only seeing this way and I wasn't able to see this way. So, you know, let me know. Do y'all find that everything for you now causes a lot of stress with your brain injury? Are you to the point now in your brain injury where the stress has waned and you find that you're not as stressed out from everything, but it is, you were up here, but you may be even if it's just a little ways down here, you know, but you're further down in your stress levels? Let me know. I'm curious to know because, you know, I'm sure I cannot be the only one who was, you know, thinking this way, that if I push, I'll get there faster. You know, it's like you're pushing a wheelbarrow full of bricks and you're trying to say, okay, if I cram as many bricks on there and try and push it going up that hill, I'll be able to get up there really fast. No, you won't. You're going to either, oh my goodness, I can't push it, or you're going to fall back down. The bricks is going to fall back down because it's too heavy. But if you take, say, 10 bricks at a time and you go up, you, next thing you know, you're just like, what? And you're like, I only got 3 bricks left now. But it's easier to handle that less amount than it is trying to put on that whole amount of the bricks. You know, I loved using analogies, y'all. I'm sure you'll find this out, but I do, to explain things. But, you know, this is, as again, like I said, like how I was putting all those bricks into that wheelbarrow, trying to take it all so I could go up that hill. But now when I look at it, you know, when I feel like, ooh, I want to lose my natural mind, I know, okay, I've had too much and I need to, okay, y'all, bye, I'm gone and I'm out. And I would, you know, just go to my garden and I'd sit down and, you know, just watch my things, or I'd go outside and I look outside and, you know, the garden, watch the flowers, you know, watch the corn, whatever it is that I'm watching. And it's able to help me and just to bring down that stress. So I'm curious to know what helps to bring down your stress when you have all of that amount of stress, and what helps to bring it down. And yeah, so that's all I have for today, y'all. So please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell so you can get notified when I do these videos. And please comment. I love y'all comments. I really appreciate y'all comments. Thank you for writing in, even if it's just to say, oh, Astor, why didn't you try this, or have you heard of this? I really appreciate it. So thank y'all. And with that, I shall take my leave. I'll definitely check y'all in the next video, and I'll tell y'all bye.